I am the author of the book, Erin Brockovich, Superman's Not Coming. But what's so important is everything we just touched upon about what we, the people, can do about it, our humanness, and how when we are together and in sync, the changes that we can make. So while Superman's Not Coming might seem frightening to many, I think it's very hopeful because it's the awakening of realizing yourself and that you too can step out and make that difference and not wait always for someone to do that for you. How I got to this book was a very long journey. I was born and raised in the Midwest, and I spent my time in the environment because I related to it and I felt accepted there. And I oftentimes felt very different because I was always perceived as the underdog. School was difficult for me because I'm a dyslexic. And so oftentimes the environment is where I felt at home. I was in awe of the strength and the resiliency of water and how it always moved forward. It reminded me of myself, and we too are water. You know, it could be stagnant, it could be raging, you know, it could be flowing, it's moving, it's emotion. It reminded me of myself. And I was fascinated with the weather. And so this is where I felt at home in the environment. And I worry so much today for all of us that we've become disconnected from the very earth, from the very water, from the very source that makes us who we are. So being in school and being a dyslexic, I felt so frustrated because I was seen as different. I was always put into a box and I had to be this or I had to be that. And the judgments or the label that went with it or the teasing, it just all really made me feel very uncertain, more uncertain about who I was. I had a mom that changed my life immensely. She was my cheerleader. She knew if my self-esteem escaped me that I could slide through those cracks. She's the one that taught me about stick-to-itiveness. The greatest word around and how it changed my life is definition, propensity to follow through in a determined manner, dogged persistence born of obligation and stubbornness. That word resonated with me. I was dogged, persistent, stubborn was my middle name. And she told me that just because I was different didn't mean I was inferior. And all these things really helped me get past that moment of frustration and to see another way that even though I was different, I didn't have to be in a box and I could find a way to come out and be who I was. I had a teacher that changed my life. She realized I was different and she saw that I was visual. She knew that I knew, but when I did a test, everything got kind of all turned around. And so she let me take all my tests orally and I ended up getting an A+ in the class. And again, something that really lifted my self-esteem. And it's so important that we support and can see and believe in others. And I always tell people different is good. And so it was with my mom and a teacher that really helped me get to where I was. And then when I began my work as an adult in the environment out in a small desert town in Hinckley, California, that resulted in the film Erin Brockovich, I stood there and I realized that they had experienced in the same way things that I had, why they felt they couldn't speak up. They knew what they saw, but people didn't believe them. There was an eerie, suppression in the environment. And I was like, I know this, I felt it. And they were experiencing it. And when we came together, that is when everything began to change. And I began to apply what I had learned and knew about using my common sense, listening to others, empathy, what they had been through, what I saw. You know, I had everyone telling me that I couldn't possibly do this because I wasn't this or that. I'd heard that before. And I I think that is such a message that I want to share with people. You know, we don't have to be a doctor or a lawyer or a scientist or a person with their PhD that studied the environment. That certainly wasn't me. But you would need to be nothing more than human and to see in front of you that something is wrong. So all of that common sense, all of those skills and offerings from my mom and my dad, even what the environment taught me, was staring me in the face. And the perfect storm came together. And I went with that. I went with what I saw, what I felt, working with that community. And through what I call common sense, which is your logic, how we leveraged their community, the collective, how that moment for all of us in that movement changed everything, how we actually used our stick-to-itiveness and from a place of love that we rose up because we loved the environment, we loved water, we loved our family, we loved our health. We didn't want this to happen, that things changed. And it is through this journey since then, which has been, oh my gosh, 20 years, that I wondered how could I share with people to learn about, in a book, how a system was working in the EPA and what was going wrong with our water and chemicals in a layman's term that somebody would actually understand or want to hold on to or read. Because oftentimes when we get into books like that, we think, oh my gosh, I can't do this. Yes, you can. And within the book, the biggest message of all is the people. Community after community, mothers who rise up, who take the challenge, who put in that stick-to-itiveness to learn about what's gone wrong with their water, that end up running for city council, that actually win, that change laws and are now getting fresh water. And they weren't waiting for Superman to come down and fix this. They took up the charge. And it is that inspiration inside Superman's Not Coming. While it is about our national water crisis, we are in a water crisis. How knowledge is power, and to help put down steps and tools and a guideline of how you too, no matter being human, you can get involved and change how we're going to deal with water, how we're going to save water, how we're going to save this planet and our environment, the very place every one of us calls home. And underneath all of this is the inspiration of people, of humans, their tragedy, their fear, wanting that knowledge, how to cut through something. We've hopefully shared that with everyone in the power of Superman's Not Coming, and why that isn't frightening, because we are here. We have the courage, we have the hearts, we as people can rise up together and change the course of that tide. So most importantly for everyone today, I want to know when Superman's Not Coming, yes, there's science in it. Yes, there's chemicals in it. There can be some moments where your brain kind of is like, am I going to get through this? It's about believing in yourself and realizing, yes, you can. To look at that person in the mirror and accept, yes, even though we may have flaws, and we all do, and I have plenty of them. And even though you may not have that science degree, you can still be involved in this and assessing who you are and looking around at your neighbors again and extending your hand to that collective, please join us. And mostly the motivation that we're all going to need. And to find that dogged persistence and determination. And there is definitely a secret to keeping all of that together. And it's a moment for self-renewal. And Superman's Not Coming. Don't let that frighten you. Take it as a moment to reflect on yourself and to stop and reconnect to this earth, to this water, everything that sustains us. Stop and literally smell the roses. Take a walk on the beach. Listen to the ocean waves. Look at the amazing environment around us. The smell of fresh rain, fresh cut grass. See, the world around us is speaking to us if we can stop and take the time to notice. It is in this very space and this very place that you can hear yourself think. You can feel your heart beating. You can take that breath and realize we are alive in the magnificent world around us and how all of us can make that change. So Superman's not coming. And we do have a national water crisis, but please remember, it is what we, the people, can do about us every day of my life. Every community I've been in, every story I've heard today shows me together we are better. Together we are stronger. Acceptance, kindness, love. We'll get through this together. So thank you so much for this time today. It has been an amazing experience and something that I will not forget. So thank you, Random House, everybody, for being here today.